Appreciate you all being here. Happy New Year. Just we had a good a little bit of a break after the 29th and got back at it here this week. And we're excited to get into Big Ten play, and we know the gauntlet of Big Ten basketball. But our guys are excited. We had a good practice today, getting ready for Michigan State, and looking forward to seeing where we're at.
All right, we'll start with Mark Brennan and then Daniel Gallen.
Hey, Mike, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, what does it mean to get Favor back, and what's the game plan for kind of bringing him along since he didn't play before the previous game? Thanks.
Sure. Number one is just another big body, another guy that, at the rim can help us rebound and get in the way of, of defense at the rim, blocking shots. He is athletic, so he can run the floor and can finish vertically. So, that helps, just having that other body. If you think some of the games where we had some foul trouble inside, that could have really helped us. So now, the biggest thing with Fave now is still a young player. He just needs time. He needs reps. We're going to throw him in the fire and see what he does. But he just needs experience, and he's going to get that here, getting thrown in the fire here in Big Ten play.
Daniel Gallen and then Joe Smeltzer.
Happy New Year, Mike.
Happy New Year.
With Favor being out for such a long period of time, how did you see him handle not being able to play as a young player, dealing with the rehab process? What was kind of his mentality like these past few weeks?
It was good. The toughest thing is when it's your hand, right? And it was a finger. There wasn't much he can do for a while. So it was more sitting around and being in the training room. But he had a pin in it, so he couldn't even move around much for a few weeks. But once the doctor allowed him to start sweating and moving around and all that stuff, he did a good job of getting himself in shape, or keeping himself in shape. And then I thought he did a pretty good job of being ready to come back. That hasn't been an issue. His shape or him not being up to par. So, the biggest thing is the plays and things we do, and him just getting the reps to be comfortable. But he did a good job. I mean, there's only so much you can do when you're injured. Paying attention and watching the guys ahead of you, that's number one. So, that will always be important with our guys that are rehabbing.
Joe Smeltzer and then Max Ralph.
Hey, Mike, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How you doing?
Good.
Great.
So Michigan State obviously gets a lot of production from its backcourt. Tyson Walker is the conference's leading scoring guard. Hogard is one of the assist leaders in the league. From what you've seen of them on film, what have been your takeaways?
Yeah, Walker can really scored in bunches, scored in different ways. He's a really good isolation guy, so he can make threes off the dribble as well, but also he can get into defense because he's so quick to get to the rim. He makes big plays for them. He's got to score for them. Hoggart, he is a big, strong point guard that runs the show. He can score and get to the rim, but he sets people up. You can tell he's an extension of his coach. He's been there for a while. So two very good Big Ten guards, very good backcourt. We have our hands full, but I like our backcourt as well.
Max Ralph and then Seth Engel.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
All right, how you doing?
Doing well. Another double-digit showing for DeMarco against Ryder. I'm just curious how you've seen him get to this point and how much further he has to go still, because I think that's 4 games in a row now where we've seen that from him. Yeah,
that's why we wanted him. That's why I recruited him out of high school. I think he's a guard that can get to double digits every game for us. He can shoot it. He can put on the floor and get to his mid-range, which you guys have seen that a lot. And then he's starting to get to the rim and draw a lot of fouls and score against bigger guys at the rim. So he has a lot of scoring ability. What I've been very impressed with him in the last month and a half, is that he's really trying to grow as a player and learn how to do it. An example was today in practice. after practice, he and Coach Brunner on the side basket repping something so he could learn it better. And that's the next step of being a good player to becoming a great player, is doing all the extra and things that might be a weakness, turning them into a strength. And so I really appreciate his approach. And at Carolina, I think he had a specific role, and now he sees that he could have a really, really big role for us, and we need him to score points. So that's exciting for him, and exciting for me, because he's really been listening. He's really been learning. He's been growing, and here we are, a couple of 13 games into the season, and I still think he's getting a lot better and has a long way to go, which is exciting.
Seth Engel and then Nate Bauer.
Hey, Mike, hope you're well. We didn't
Great,
see
you too.
Nick turn against Ryder. I was wondering if you had an update on him ahead of this Michigan State game.
Yeah, day to day. Hopefully he'll be back. So we're just gonna give it another day here and see how he is. So we need him. So hopefully he'll be back.
Nate Bauer.
Mike, I didn't do the research, so I'm going to ask you to help me out here. How many of these are new gyms for you? Like, is this going to be your first trip to Michigan State? And
Yeah. I haven't been to. I've played a lot of Big Ten teams, but I haven't been in any of the gyms, Nate. So, yeah, this is all new to me, buddy.
is there something to that? Have you gotten any, status, like, I don't know, just a formulating a plan?
Are you asking me if I'm scared or worried?
I don't think I'd put it that way, but
No. Man, think about this, man. I've said it before. I'm the new head coach at Penn State from Pennsylvania, and I'm going to get to coach my team on Thursday at Michigan State. How awesome is that? You know what I mean? And just think, if we win, how cool is that going to be, right? So, that's how I look at it. And going to Indiana or Purdue or Northwestern or going to Maryland was really cool when we played there. So no, I love road games. I love taking my team on the road. I think it's really, really hard to go on the road in college basketball and conference play and win. That's how you set your program apart. I've taken great pride in that in my career, of going on into someone else's arena or gymnasium and beat them. So that's the plan. That's the goal. To do it in the Big Ten, it'd be really cool. It's really hard. I know the stats about it. It's really hard, but hey, why not? So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm excited that I don't have to wear a suit for these games too. So I only have to take one bag. So I'm excited for that.
All right. Spencer Ripchick and then Joe Tuman.
Hey, Mike, what has it taken for Puff to turn things around, and what is the key for him to continue to do so?
Yeah, I think he's just more comfortable in his role, Spencer. I also think I think he's starting to see and feel where his shots and his drives are coming from. He's healthier. He's healthier right now than he has been all year long. He and I, we shoot a lot together out of practice. Yesterday, we got some shots up, and we watched some tape the other day of his shots, and just trying to make the game more comfortable for him. And I don't mean I want him to be an aggressive player and a physical player, but on the offensive end, sort of slow down and just see where things are for his game, for his shots, where they're coming from. So, he's a student of the game, so he's really trying to do things the right way, and I think you're seeing that in his results.
Joe Tuman and then Joe Smeltzer.
Hey, Coach. So this season, the team's averaging 22 free throw attempts per game. They've really been drawing contact over the past few games. Just why do you think the team's excelling there? Is that something you focus on in practice, or do you think this group of guys is just talented at getting to the line?
Yeah, it's really important to me. I think last year my team was like a 27, 28. I was hoping this team would be a 26 to 28. So I hope in the conference play we can get to the rim more. Just being downhill guys, you have a guy like Ace and a guy like Kanye, those guys can get to the rim. And now I think DeMarco and Puff, those guys, are starting to get downhill. Quadis is drawing fouls, Q. So I think it's really important that you get to the foul line, they're 3 points. We're scoring 77 points a game, but we can continue to shoot it like we are a little bit better and get there more. And now you're in the 80s. I think that's really important for us.
So Smeltzer and then Daniel Gallen.
Mike, so December was, I think, a pretty crazy month for Penn State basketball with 4 to 6 games being very tight. Now that starting Thursday, you'll be in conference play from the beginning of 2024 through the conference tournament. How do you think that 4-game stretch is going to benefit as you get into the heat of the Big Ten?
Well, I always think close games, you learn a lot about your team. Your players learn what you're capable of doing late in games. It's just learning experience. But the only way you find ways to win close games is you play close games, and you got to go through it. And so our guys have done that. We've had 1-possession games. We've had overtime games. We've had, close games where we're in foul trouble. And, all those are learning experiences. We could go back and learn from them all the time, which we have. I think we've improved throughout the month of December because of what we went through. Now we got to use that here going into January and league play to, we got a close game on the road or at home. We got to find a way to win it. So you put all those experiences you've gone through, to use and make sure it helps you next time around.
Daniel Gallen and then Seth Engel.
Mike, we saw Penn State put out a graphic today showing how Kanye Clary's numbers are really up across the board this season pretty dramatically. Is this kind of the player that you thought you were getting when you took over this job, when you recruited him back, or has there been kind of another level to what you've seen now that you've gotten to work with him day to day?
Well, I really thought he'd be really dynamic in our style, the way we always have played our guards and given the freedom to be so aggressive. So, yeah, I really felt Kanye could really fit into our program and our style of play, and he'd have a lot of fun doing the things he's doing. For him to do it at this rate, this consistently, after 13 games, no, probably, because he's still a sophomore and it's still new to him. I will say this, like his approach and attitude has been awesome. And that's one reason why. I mean, he's a really good player and he's dynamic, but he's done a really good job of continuing to learn more about the style and the system. And he's done a great job with Coach Crispin of learning how to use ball screens and get open off, with ball screens. And he's picking his spots, but he's also working on his game. Today before practice, he was in the gym 20 minutes before practice getting shots up. He was here the other day, New Year's Eve. He came in the gym at night by himself. Last night, we had a couple other guys in the gym here last night by themselves. Like, that's what you want. Kanye's been doing it at a high level, and it shows on the court. So he's been a lot of fun to coach because he's been very coachable. But also, like any coach, when you have good players that put the ball in their hands and go make plays for themselves and their teammates, that means you got a good player. So I'm not going to say I'm shocked. I'm not shocked because I knew he was a good player. I've known about his game for a long time. The fit of our program has really allowed him to shine very, very quickly. So I'm really proud of him.
Seth and then Daniel.
Mike, I asked this after the Ohio State game, but I think things have changed a little bit. Since then, how much closer are you guys to where you think you want this team to be? It looks like you guys have improved a little bit defensively the past couple of weeks. Just kind of where would you pinpoint that right now?
We're further along since you asked me that question in Ohio State. Yes. I think our defense has improved. Nothing where I want it to be, but I do think it's improved. I don't think our rebounding has improved enough. That's something we're working on and we're emphasizing. We got to defensive rebound better. without a doubt. Our defense would be so much better if we were rebounding 10% of the first, 10% more of the first misses. You know, and that's not a lot, Daniel, but it's significant. Offensively, we're shooting the ball better. We still, you know, we've done a better job from the beginning of the year of not turning the ball over. So I think that's been huge. Getting a shot every time down. I think multiple guys have stepped up at times when it's needed, which was what we felt we would get with a team with some depth. So we're definitely further ahead than we're much better than we were beginning of the year. We're much better than maybe the Ohio State game. We showed signs in a lot of games where we could play pretty good basketball. We're just not very consistent. Part of that is the rebounding, as you're giving other teams second shots and confidence. But I do think we've improved in a lot of areas of our game, without a doubt. And that's credit to our players, because we've had some tough nights. We've had a really bad week, and to their credit, they didn't pack it in. They didn't point fingers. We had some really heart-to-heart, some honest conversations, and we had some consequences the way we were playing and acting. And I think the guys really have taken a big step from that.
We have time for two more. We'll go Daniel Gallen and Max Ralph.
Mike, Jamil was someone else that we saw come back after an extended absence against Ryder. How close is he to being back, I guess, to full strength? And you know, what can he do? What can he add to your team that maybe you were missing while he was out?
Well, his shooting, I mean, he's very close to being, you know, full-time back, and he's had some good practices, and we wanted to get him in the Ryder game, but we wanted to be careful too. But you know, he had a really good practice today. Two things that he does very well. Number one is shoot the ball. We all know that. I mean, that's quite obvious. But the other thing he does, he's a very good connector of the team with his talk, being an extension of the coach. And he has a coach's mind, so he's really talking and helping his teammates. Even if he's not in the game, he is impacting us and our success. And then when he's on the court, if you were watching the game, he's the one on defense talking the most, just because, you know, he sees it. He has a great feel for the games. He's going to be a heck of a coach someday. But you know, the thing about him is, you know, his teammates really like playing with him, because on one end he can bang a bunch of threes that really helps you, but on the other end, even though he's not the most athletic guy or the fastest guy, he works really hard, and his talk really connects the defense. And so we need that from him the rest of the way out.
Your last question to Max Ralph.
Mike, you mentioned Joe Crispin when you're talking about Kanye. I'm just curious what it's been like working with him on this staff, bringing him back to Penn State, and just what that whole experience has been like.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Great respect for Joe, and you know, he's hit it off. I mean, he goes about life in the game very much like the rest of our staff. I mean, you know, family and basketball, and that's how we all are around here. And he shows that off every day, and he has very good relationships. He's a great communicator with our players, and I think that's really helped us. And you know, he's brought in some new things to our program, but also, you know, there's things he and I will talk about, and we might not have the answers, but he'll go home and I'll go home. We'll come back the next day and figure out the answers. He's a hoop head like the rest of us, just trying to find what are things that are going to help this team win. And I love it. I love a different approach. I love his personality. He loves Penn State. He and his family love Penn State. It's not just a job it means a lot to him, and you want guys like that. And it's been a lot of fun watching him with the rest of our staff and everyone building a relationship with him. And his family's awesome. His kids are here all the time, and Aaron, of course, played soccer here, and you know, they're totally invested in the community. It's been great.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, we'll see you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.